Have you ever woken up in the morning, reached for your partner's hand, and then remembered they're no longer there? The silence can feel heavy, almost suffocating. Grief after losing a spouse is one of the hardest things anyone can go through. It touches every part of your life, from the quiet moments alone to the big decisions you never imagined facing on your own. If you've experienced this kind of loss, I want you to know that what you're feeling is completely valid. It's okay to grieve deeply, but it's also important to find ways to move forward even when it feels impossible. Today, we're going to talk about 5 healing steps to help you navigate grief and rebuild your life after losing a spouse. These aren't quick fixes or magic solutions. Grief doesn't work like that. But they are practical, compassionate ways to honor your emotions while slowly finding hope again. Whether you've recently lost your partner or are still working through the pain years later, these steps can guide you toward a place of peace and purpose. In this video, we'll explore how to acknowledge your feelings without letting them overwhelm you, how to create new routines that support your well-being, and how to rediscover joy in the little things. You don't have to rush the process. Healing takes time, and everyone moves at their own pace. But with the right tools, you can start to see light on the horizon, even if it feels distant right now. Let's begin with the first step, giving yourself permission to grieve fully. Grieving isn't something you get over or move past. It's a journey, and an essential part of that journey is allowing yourself to feel everything. The sadness, the anger, the confusion, and yes, even the guilt. Many people try to push these emotions aside because they think they should be strong or keep it together, especially as they grow older. But here's the truth. Suppressing your feelings doesn't make them disappear. It just delays the healing process. Instead, give yourself space to sit with your emotions, whether that means crying, journaling, talking to someone you trust, or simply sitting quietly with a photo of your loved one. Take Margaret, for example, a woman I had the privilege of meeting during a grief support group last year. After losing her husband of 45 years, she tried to stay busy, throwing herself into volunteer work and family obligations. On the surface, she seemed fine, but inside, she was drowning. One day, a friend gently encouraged her to take a break and just let herself feel whatever came up. That moment changed everything for her. She started setting aside time each week to visit her husband's favorite park, where she could talk to him, cry openly, and remember the happy moments they shared. Over time, she realized that grieving wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a way of honoring the love they'd built together. If you're struggling to confront your emotions, start small. Maybe it's writing down a memory of your spouse in a notebook or lighting a candle in their honor. Or perhaps it's calling a close friend and saying, "I'm having a hard day, I just need to talk." Whatever form it takes, giving yourself permission to grieve is the first step toward healing. And remember, there's no timeline for grief. Some days will feel lighter than others, and that's okay. Now let's move on to another crucial step, leaning on your support system. Grief can feel incredibly isolating, like you're carrying a weight no one else understands. But the truth is, you don't have to carry it alone. Reaching out to family, friends, or even professional counselors can provide comfort and connection during this difficult time. Even if you've always been someone who prefers handling things independently, now is the time to let others in. Consider Harold, a retired teacher who lost his wife 3 years ago. At first, he resisted accepting help, believing he had to manage everything by himself. But eventually, he joined a local senior center where he met others who were navigating similar losses. Sharing stories, laughter, and tears with this group became a lifeline for him. He told me how hearing other people's experiences reminded him that he wasn't alone and that others truly cared about his well-being. Over time, those connections helped him feel less isolated and more hopeful about the future. Building a support system might look different for everyone. For some, it's joining a formal grief support group or attending counseling sessions. For others, it's simply reaching out to a neighbor for coffee or inviting a grandchild over for a visit. The key is being open to receiving care and companionship, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Surrounding yourself with people who understand and support you can make all the difference as you navigate this chapter of your life. As we continue exploring these healing steps, keep in mind that grief isn't linear. You won't wake up one day and suddenly feel better. Healing happens in waves, and it's perfectly normal to have setbacks along the way. What matters most is that you're taking steps, no matter how small, to nurture your heart and soul during this challenging time. Now that we've covered giving yourself permission to grieve and leaning on your support system, let's talk about another important aspect of healing: creating new routines. Losing a spouse often disrupts the rhythm of daily life, leaving you feeling unmoored. Establishing structure and purpose can help ground you and bring a sense of stability back into your world. Let's dive into how you can start building routines that honor your needs and interests. Creating new routines after losing a spouse can feel daunting, especially when so much of your daily life was once intertwined with theirs. The absence of those familiar patterns, like sharing meals, watching TV together, or running errands, as a team, can leave you feeling lost or aimless. But here's the good news: building new routines doesn't mean replacing what you had with your partner. Instead, it's about finding structure and purpose in a way that honors your current needs and helps you move forward. Let me share a story about Ruth, a 72-year-old woman I met during a community wellness workshop. After her husband passed away, she found herself wandering through days without direction. She missed their morning coffee rituals, their evening walks, and even the simple act of planning meals together. One day, a friend encouraged her to try something new, starting each morning with a small activity just for herself. Ruth decided to begin with something manageable, brewing her favorite tea and sitting by the window to watch the sunrise. First, it felt strange, almost uncomfortable, but over time, this quiet ritual became a source of comfort and stability. From there, she gradually added other elements to her routine, like taking short walks in the afternoon or joining a book club that met weekly. These changes didn't erase her grief, but they gave her something to look forward to, a reason to get out of bed each day. The beauty of creating new routines is that they don't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. It could be as simple as setting aside 10 minutes each morning to stretch, calling a friend at the same time every week, or dedicating an hour to a hobby you've always wanted to explore. The key is consistency, repeating these activities regularly until they become part of your rhythm. Over time, these small actions can bring a sense of normalcy and control back into your life, helping you feel more grounded and less overwhelmed by the waves of grief. Now let's talk about another powerful step in healing: finding ways to honor your spouse's memory while embracing your own journey. Losing someone you love deeply doesn't mean letting go of the connection you shared. It means finding meaningful ways to keep their spirit alive in your heart. For many people, this process involves creating tributes, rituals, or traditions that celebrate the life and love you shared. These acts of remembrance not only help you process your loss, but also remind you of the joy and beauty that person brought into your world. Take Joseph, for example, a 78-year-old man who lost his wife of 50 years. He struggled with the idea of moving on, fearing that doing so would mean forgetting her. Then, a counselor suggested he channel his emotions into something tangible. Joseph decided to plant a garden in her honor, filling it with flowers and plants she had always loved. Every time he tended to the garden, he felt closer to her, as if he were nurturing a piece of their relationship. He also started volunteering at a local charity she had supported, which allowed him to carry forward her legacy of kindness and generosity. Through these acts, Joseph realized that honoring his wife didn't mean staying stuck in the past. It meant celebrating her impact on his life and using it as a foundation for growth. Honoring your spouse's memory might look different for you. Maybe it's cooking their favorite recipe on special occasions, framing photos of happy moments you shared, or continuing a tradition they cherished. Some people find solace in writing letters to their loved ones, expressing everything they wish they could say. Others create keepsakes, like scrapbooks or memory boxes, filled with mementos that remind them of happier times. Whatever form it takes, these gestures allow you to hold on to the love you shared while giving yourself permission to keep living fully. As you work through these steps, remember that healing isn't about moving on from your spouse. It's about integrating their memory into your life in a way that feels authentic and uplifting. You're not leaving them behind. You're carrying their light with you as you navigate this new chapter. Now let's shift our focus to another essential aspect of healing, rediscovering joy in the little things. Grief can make it hard to notice or even care about the small pleasures in life. Activities that once brought you happiness might feel hollow or unappealing, but reconnecting with those moments of joy, no matter how fleeting, can be a powerful antidote to the heaviness of loss. It's not about forcing yourself to feel happy, it's about gently reminding yourself that life still holds beauty, even amidst the pain. Consider Mary, a 69-year-old widow who used to love painting before her husband's passing. After he died, she packed away her art supplies, convinced she'd never find joy in creating again. One day, her granddaughter came over and asked if they could paint together. Reluctantly, Mary agreed, and though it felt awkward at first, she soon found herself smiling as colors blended on the canvas. That afternoon sparked something in her. She began setting up her easel again, experimenting with new techniques and themes. Painting didn't erase her grief, but it gave her a space to express emotions she couldn't put into words and reminded her that she was still capable of experiencing joy. Rediscovering joy doesn't require grand gestures or expensive hobbies. It could be savoring a cup of tea in silence, listening to music that lifts your spirits, or spending time outdoors surrounded by nature. Pay attention to the moments that make you pause, even briefly, and linger there. Over time, these tiny sparks of happiness can grow brighter, helping you see that life after loss isn't just about enduring. It's about finding reasons to smile again. As we continue exploring these healing steps, notice how they build on another. Allowing yourself to grieve creates space for healing. Leaning on support reminds you that you're not alone. Establishing routines provides stability. Honoring memories keeps your loved one close. And rediscovering joy invites light back into your life. Each step strengthens the next, guiding you toward a place of peace and resilience. Now that we've covered these 4 healing strategies, let's turn our attention to the final step, embracing the possibility of reinvention. While it may seem overwhelming at first, this stage offers an opportunity to redefine who you are and what brings meaning to your life. Let's dive into how you can embrace change and open yourself up to new beginnings. Now let's talk about the final step in healing after losing a spouse, embracing the possibility of reinvention. This might sound intimidating at first. After all, you've spent years building a life with your partner, and the idea of starting anew can feel overwhelming or even disloyal. But here's the truth. Reinvention isn't about forgetting your past or replacing what you had. It's about rediscovering who you are outside of that relationship and finding new ways to bring meaning and fulfillment into your life. Think of it as planting seeds in fresh soil. You're nurturing growth while honoring the roots that came before. Take Evelyn, for instance, a 75-year-old woman I met during a storytelling event. After her husband passed away, she felt like a part of her identity had vanished. For decades, she'd defined herself as a wife, mother, and caregiver, and now those roles felt incomplete. At first, she resisted the idea of trying anything new, fearing it would diminish the love she still carried for him. But one day, a friend encouraged her to sign up for a beginner's pottery class. Though hesitant, Evelyn decided to give it a try, and to her surprise, she fell in love with the process. The act of shaping clay with her hands gave her a sense of purpose and creativity she hadn't felt in years. Over time, she began exploring other interests too, like joining a choir and volunteering at a local library. These activities didn't erase her grief, but they reminded her that she was more than her loss, that there was still so much life left to live. Reinvention doesn't have to mean drastic changes. It could be as simple as learning a new skill, pursuing a long-forgotten passion, or stepping into a role you've never tried before. Maybe it's taking a class at your community center, traveling to a place you've always dreamed of visiting, or mentoring younger generations with the wisdom you've gained over the years. The goal is to open yourself up to possibilities, however small, that allow you to grow and evolve. By doing so, you honor not only your own resilience, but also the legacy of your spouse, who likely wanted nothing more than for you to thrive. As we wrap up our conversation about these 5 healing steps, let's take a moment to reflect on how far you've come, or how far you can go. Grieving the loss of a spouse is one of the hardest journeys anyone can face, but it's also an opportunity to rediscover yourself and create a life filled with purpose, connection, and joy. Each step we've discussed, giving yourself permission to grieve, leaning on your support system, creating new routines, honoring your spouse's memory, and embracing reinvention, builds on the others, guiding you toward a place of peace and strength. Remember, healing isn't linear, and it's okay to have setbacks along the way. Some days will feel lighter, while others may feel heavier, and that's part of the process. What matters most is that you're taking steps, no matter how small, to care for yourself and honor the love you shared. You don't have to do this alone. Reach out when you need help, celebrate the progress you make, and be gentle with yourself. On the hard days, before we go, I want to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you tried any of these steps? Or maybe you found another way to navigate grief that has helped you heal. I'd love to hear about it. Your story could inspire someone else who's walking a similar path. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We're here to provide guidance, encouragement, and practical advice to help you live your best life, no matter what challenges you're facing. Here's to finding light in the darkness, strength in vulnerability, and hope in the midst of loss. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, you are not defined by your grief. You are shaped by your courage, resilience, and capacity to love deeply. Keep moving forward, one step at a time. Until next time, take care and keep shining.